DA. It's our turn, D. Oh.
Go ahead. I mean, just go ahead. I mean, do it.
Wait, I'm waiting for the intro to start.
No, I mean, rev that bus up because it needs to be revved up. I pushed the button too many times.
I was gonna let the intro go.
I was so excited that you were back that I got jittery.
Back. What's up, y'all? I am back. As Steven Tyler once said, back in the saddle again. What's up? Happy Thursday, America! It's good to be back, baby! How y'all doing? Did you have a good time? Everybody do a good job? Carlos did well. I listened for a handful of minutes on Monday and Tuesday. Thought he sounded good. But I got to tell you, as much as I appreciate
that was not me. That was not me.
Oh,
I'm gonna put that back up there and hopefully. Well, no, I'm just gonna leave that down so that just in case that tries to do that.
Just in
again.
case it does anything else again. What a day! What a start to the show. I love it.
I have just decided though when I do eventually quit or get retired, this day might retire me.
When you get retired,
yeah. That I probably will just put my headphones down and just walk out. Just because,
You should walk over here. You should fold them up. Just leave them sitting in the middle of the ring.
There we go.
Just leave them.
Oh, if I'm doing that, I'm going out barefoot though. Just cause. One last.
So how was everybody's Thanksgiving? And more importantly, Zoe, how was everybody's college rivalry weekend? I know you got to keep in mind, this is the first time I've cracked a microphone since college football rivalry weekend. And just because you guys have gotten your opinions, your thoughts out on the air over the last 3 days, Rob Brown ain't. So it's my turn. Let's have a little fun on the radio broadcast today, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rob Brown. It is a pleasure, as always, to be with you across the metaphorical glass. From me today, in charge of all buttons, switches, levers, knobs, gears, pulleys, willies, and other simple machinery.
No, don't mention all that. The
guy responsible for every piece of audio that gets played, no matter when or where it gets played. He's still turning off buttons. The great one, Lonzo. How'd it go, man? You guys sounded like you were having a good time.
I
thought Carlos did good.
Everything was flawless till today. I don't know what happened. I really don't.
I accept no blame nor credit.
I know we are training someone. Maybe I should blame it on that.
It's that guy over there in the corner. You can't see on the stream.
Well, he was training last night.
He's just right over there.
It could be static electricity that caused the last thing to fire.
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails? There were some this morning. I noticed on my way in.
Yeah, just that chemtrail powder, juice, dust. What do they drop? I don't know what they drop.
DNA, I believe.
Gotcha. Some wayward DNA got into the board, and that's, you don't want to say that out of context.
You do not.
You don't want to say that out of context.
You know what? So you weren't here to hear about the fact, and I don't know if you knew this because you were out of town.
I'm horrified of where this sentence is going after the one we just
You were
completed.
out of town, so you don't know this, and I can't wait to tell you about this. But Clemson lost to South Carolina. I don't know if you knew that. I felt obligated to mention that every single day. But you were in Florida and maybe you didn't hear the news down there. I mean, it's possible.
It turns out that while I was very much spending time with a couple of bottles of bourbon down on the Redneck Riviera, that we do have televisions and electricity.
Yeah, Clemson fans, I can't do my job today, but I can remind you of that.
Let's be real. That's gonna be on your resume moving forward. Like if you don't
hashtag all in
ever needed a resume builder, your like number 3 item would be antagonist in chief.
I like that. I like that, especially towards a certain fan base. Although I am pretty effective in making everyone angry. So I mean, there's that.
So I will say that I did watch that game, and I've got thoughts. And you're going to get them throughout the course of the show today. All right. Marcus Satterfield on his way up to Nebraska to become the OC, it looks like, with Matt Rule, the former Panthers coach with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. By the way, since I can pitch whatever the hell I want now that I'm back on my mic for this show, I believe that there was one Views from Mint Street commenter that told you a number of weeks ago that Matt Rule got let go from that job, not because it was the right time or Tep gave up or whatever else. Matt Rule got let go of that job because Nebraska was going to hire him. And if they were to pay him at least $40 million, it was going to cost David Tepper nothing to fire Matt Rule. Whereas had he waited till the end of the season, it would have cost him the base salary for the rest of the season. Where is Matt Rule? Nebraska. And oh my, how the intertwining of stories comes together once again in sports as Marcus Satterfield is rumored. And I think at this point we can pretty much go ahead and say it's a fact because even Shano has been talking about it. Marcus Satterfield, the now former South Carolina offensive coordinator, is now on his way to join Matt Rule, who he spent some time with in the past under the Cornhusker banner. And I will tell you, that move happened not just because Matt Rule wanted Sat up there in Cornhusker territory. That move also happened because it saved Shane Beamer and Ray Tanner and Marcus Satterfield from an otherwise very awkward offseason. Right? Now, you look, Sat performed in the last two games. You go back to that Tennessee game. Sat so performed in that gig that even sitting here talking about it, I still don't believe that Marcus Satterfield was the only one calling plays against Tennessee and against Clemson.
So you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys that was online saying, "Oh, he's not really calling the plays. Look at how well they were doing. It can't be him." So, all right. So who was it? Yeah. You got to adjust your tinfoil hat. You haven't had it on in a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Although spending time with family sometimes will make you need the hat.
Oh yeah. There were some conspiracy theories around the Brown Thanksgiving table. You better believe it.
All right. So who called the plays then? If it wasn't Satterfield, who did it?
I don't know. That's why it's a C-O-N-spiracy. I don't know. But I don't understand how you could have 10 weeks of the most bland, vanilla, repetitive, not creative play calling that you've seen, and then all of the sudden, that's fine. For 10 weeks, the Gamecock offense struggled. For 10 weeks, the numbers weren't there. Then, suddenly, a turnaround. 60-plus points against Tennessee. 31 on the road at Clemson. What happened? Lizard people? Aliens? Lizard aliens? The evidence is all right there. Will you open your eyes? Will you wake up? Will you find the truth? Coming up next on The Rob Brown Show, the mystery of the South Carolina Gamecock offense. I ran out of words.
You also you're off.
Pretty good for a minute.
You're off on your timing.
I know. I kept blowing the conspiracy.
It's like in a wrestling crowd where there's always a couple people who just can't get the timing
hit your
down.
spots.
Yeah, and you'll get it again.
It's been a minute.
We haven't played it in, I don't know, 3 or 4 months or something like that.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. James said, not saying it's aliens, but it's definitely aliens. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I go 9 weeks. I don't know how the offense that put up 10 against Mizzou, the offense that did not score a point against Florida, suddenly goes out 2 weeks in a row and puts up 63 and 31 against the number 5 team in the country and then on the road at the number 7 team in the country. How the hell's that work? How's it work? Aliens, lizard people that are aliens. I don't know.
So what you're trying to say is that South Carolina wasn't talented enough to win those games?
No, I'm saying they absolutely were talented enough to win those games, and they were talented enough. This team could have been, Zoe, a freaking 10-win football team.
Potentially knock 2 teams out of the playoff.
Not potentially, absolutely did.
Nah, Clemson wasn't getting that.
They might have.
I don't know.
They win that game, they beat Carolina. They absolutely have a better crack at it than Alabama, but they don't now. Now y'all left the door for Nick Saban to weasel his way in again.
That ain't happening.
I don't know, dude.
All right, potentially it could happen.
Yes.
All right, potentially it could.
Now, I will tell you, it's a massive long shot because there is something that would need to happen for Bama to slip in, which is Purdue would have to beat Michigan by about 50, which ain't going to happen, right? Michigan's going to run Purdue off the football field.
There are 2 more likely losses than that, and that would be TCU losing, and that would definitely be
USC.
Utah stepping up.
Yeah.
Again.
I think if Purdue was to bump Michigan, Alabama could make it wouldn't work, but can make an argument to slip ahead of the 2 Big Ten teams. I think.
What if LSU beat Georgia?
Doesn't matter. They can't go. Not with 3. They'd go on with 2.
No. I mean, how would it knock Georgia out?
No, Georgia's going.
Okay.
Georgia's a lock.
Michigan loses, are they out? Because I don't think they are. I think Georgia and Michigan are both safe if they lose.
I think it would depend on how Michigan loses, right? If they get blown out by 30, no. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not.
So I'd say Georgia's a lock. I'd say Michigan's a lock. Bama's in if USC loses, if TCU loses.
Ohio State's in ahead of them, though. So 2 slots have to open up for Bama to get in.
Wait, hang on. I took my tinfoil hat off. Let me put it back on to go into the argument that they would absolutely take a 2-loss SEC team over a 1 if Purdue beat the hell out of Michigan, because it would make Ohio State's resume look a little bit weaker. All of that.
All right, stream. Calm down, okay? These are all hypotheticals, okay? I know that other show doesn't do those, but we do.
Yeah, we do hypotheticals on this show. All right, we do hypotheticals on this show. Kevin said in all caps, LSU will not beat Georgia. OMG! Shock face emoji. Yeah, I'm not saying they will, Kev. I'm not saying they will. Georgia's going to beat that. By the way, if Georgia plays the LSU that played Texas A&M on Saturday, Georgia's going to win by 40 points. And, ordinarily sometimes I like to have an LOL in my day and go, so-and-so by 50, right? I'm not being a smartass when I tell you that I think Georgia can beat LSU by 40. The question is, will they, right? Georgia did what I thought they would, Zoe, against Georgia Tech. They came out slow. They weren't necessarily trying to light up the scoreboard. It was just go get the dub, stay healthy, get ready for the SEC title game, right? Georgia Tech was up 7-0 on the Dogs for like a quarter and a half because Georgia was just kind of coasting. And they just waited until they exhausted the Ramblin' Wreck and then just ran it down their throats until it was ball game. That was all, which is exactly what I told you they were going to be. Exactly what they were going to be. And exactly what they were going to do. Georgia comes out against LSU and tries, they'll beat them by 40. Dead serious. LSU, I don't know, did they run out of gas against A&M? It doesn't matter. They're a 3-loss team. They're not going to the dance, and even if they beat Georgia, Georgia is. So the SEC championship game, hilariously enough, Zoe, is kind of irrelevant if we're being honest, right? I mean, one of those two teams is going to get a banner to hang. LSU was going to hang their 2022 SEC Western Division Champions banner. Georgia is going to hang their 2022 Eastern Division Champions banner. And one of those two squads is going to get to hang a 2022 Southeastern Conference Championship banner. And Georgia's going to the dance either way. So it's kind of irrelevant. But it's fun to talk about. So coming up on the show today, I have not gotten an opportunity to talk Clemson, South Carolina. I know the Tiger fans are over. That is unfortunate for you because I haven't been here. So it's my turn. All right. And just like that, on cue comes the text. Fan, Rob, here comes Gamecock Rob. He finally gets to crow. I'm not a Gamecock, my guy. I'm just a fan of football. It's one of those things that, and I will say this, I'll go ahead and stir it up. I've been off 3 days. Who cares? Why is it, Clemson fan, that you don't recognize that, oh, you're not a Clemson fan, you must be a Gamecock? No, that's not how it works.
It is.
Me not
it is
sitting here
simple-minded
gassing up
to
your
a degree.
team
Yeah.
doesn't mean I am a Gamecock. Sorry, Lonzo, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No. I talked over you because you just came back and I've been making mistakes all day. And I would like
gonna be mad.
I would like to apologize for interrupting you, but I haven't had the opportunity in a week or so, however long it's been since I've seen you. It's been a while. So it's been almost 2 weeks, and I'm so glad to do this by saying that South Carolina beat Clemson. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you knew that. Hashtag all in. Obviously the texter is hashtag all in. I'm sure they're still texting, probably other shows still texting hashtag all in while slamming the team that they're still all in. But, still working on that strongly worded email. It's going to happen eventually. But, I just want to mention, because I feel like I'm contractually obligated to say that, the mini dynasty is over. And, I know it hurts, but you're going back to where you were. And if I could use a wrestling term here, by the great AEW champion MJF, you are what you've always been, mid.
I saw a take this weekend that I kicked around in my stupid brain for a few days. And the more I kicked it around, the more I think it kind of might be true, Zoe. I think Clemson peaked. I think they peaked. Now, why they peaked, we'll have some discussion about, and we'll do that during the course of the show today. But I think Clemson peaked, and I think they peaked around 2018. And the question mark is going to be, can they get back to doing the things that got them there to get them back? There's a lot more variables than there were at that point in time, right? There's NIL to consider. There's a transfer portal to consider. And by the way, all things that Dabo has said he doesn't like. Now, I think, if I may take a bold stance, there are some people who are leaning pretty hefty on the, well, if Dabo doesn't NIL and he doesn't transfer portal, he's never going to do it again. It's like, all right, we got it. Dabo doesn't like it. Dabo doesn't use it except when he does. Whatever. And I think all that is there to some degree. But I think there's some other stuff going on too. We're going to address that. Has Clemson peaked? Did they hit their cyclical high water mark, if you will? We'll talk about that. And is this an upswing? Is this an upswing for the South Carolina Gamecocks? Is this the beginning of their rise? I will say this. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit, Gamecock fans. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit, all right? Let's not start crowing that you are ready for a playoff run yet. There's some things left to do. We'll talk about that. Texas said Rob must have drank his haterade this morning. He's obviously a Gamecock. He's influenced on a daily basis. Why do you think Dabo hasn't been on the show yet? Because Rob hates everything he stands for. ... Clearly.
Dabo hasn't been on the station. I mean, maybe he has. I don't get the opportunity to listen to that other show very often because I'm busy working elsewhere in the building. So maybe they've had him on. That would be the show he would go on. But I don't believe he's been on the station. I think you're trying to be singled out by someone who's butthurt because their team lost. Because I don't know if you knew this, but South Carolina beat Clemson Saturday.
Yeah, I saw it in the newspaper. I will say this. I have sat down and had lunch with Dabo Swinney more times than you have, Texter. All right? That's all I'll say, and I'll leave it right there. That's all I'll say, and I'll leave it right there. All right. Texter says, just want to point out that Ohio State's dynasty is over as well because Michigan owns Ohio State.
Dynasty isn't over. You know what is probably over? Ryan Day.
Yeah, you said that. Okay, stop. I'm coming to that in the show. Zoe said, I talked to Lonzo on Monday. We were doing the pod. No, Sunday after the game. We were doing the pod after the Panthers game. And, Zoe and I kick it back and forth for a minute before we go on the air. And Zoe said, if he loses again to Michigan next year, he's gone. I'm like, dude, he's 11-1 and to a playoff berth. Lonzo's like, it doesn't matter. Beat M or get the hell out. He didn't say that. I said that, but you get the point. So we're coming to that later in the show, too. All right, let's take a break. That one Clemson texter is on one this morning. He just hit me up again. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute from right now. Oh, look at this one that just came in, Lonzo. Of course, Rob won't believe in SC. He's obviously a Tiger fan. He hates Beamer and everything he stands for. He's obviously all in because he's a bandwagoner. When everybody hates you, you're doing it right. My name is Rob Brown. I'm better than you, and you know it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Up saying, God, it's good to be back.
Kevin, I just want to say maybe you haven't listened to me long enough, and that's fine. I have 2 college football teams. I have for a very long time, just like I have 2 NFL teams because I have no arbiter, despite what some people may say they are. And I can be a fan of whatever I want. I had a South Carolina sports show on our sister station WORD for over 14 years. So, I mean, ain't jumping nowhere. Remember where you came from, but remember where you are. I will always be an Ohio State fan. I will always be a South Carolina Gamecock fan. I will never be a Clemson fan. I only abide by the rules of my boss, and he ain't that. I just came back from vacation mistakes like 4 days later. Probably because I had to be on it because there was a new guy and all that stuff. And, I got comfortable, and that's what I'm going with.
My Gators beat USC, then went on to lose out. They now have a big problem at quarterback with Anthony Richardson declaring for the NFL draft and the backup getting arrested for possession. Yeah, what a story, dude. That was wild. Did you hear that? John Kitna's kid?
Yeah, well, I saw a couple headlines about it this morning.
I saw that. I'm like, I mean,
it's not really
I don't know that it's
something that you want to address.
Yeah. It's not really a topic that I would bring up on the show per se. Yeah. And it's one of those times that it's like Florida needs to be addressed, but you hate to just start, You hate to just start going, uh-oh, what does Florida do at quarterback now? Because it's like, it's kind of a tragic story.
By the way, Keegan, I've mentioned this before. I went to a Clemson game when I first got here at the first radio station that I worked at, and was, watching the game. And I didn't stand up for the CLEM. I forgot the letter, whatever, however they do that. They forget the letter.
South Carolina fans, it's a P.
Yeah, well, they forget the letter somewhere. They get confused. So I didn't stand up. My family didn't stand up. We were just there watching the game, and some overzealous, or as I would like to call normal Clemson fans, threatened to throw my baby daughter, who was 1 year old or younger, over the side of the stadium because we didn't stand up. And then and there, I became anti-Clemson. And then like a year later, when I'm working at WORD, we got offered a pregame show for the Carolina Gamecocks. And I did a Carolina Gamecock show for like 14 years. And despite what some other people may say, you cannot do a show about a team without becoming a fan to a certain degree, especially for that length of time. So, that's why. And there are great Clemson fans out there. I don't work with any of them that I'm aware of, but there are some out there. There are some out there. There are.
Oh, man.
I spent over a decade working with Mr. Clemson as his producer. And every time that, the rivalry game would happen and Clemson would beat South Carolina, I'd have to come in and deal with that but you get, the old iron sharpens iron thing, all that kind of stuff. You get thick skins, what you get. Now I've got
Tiger
iron.
Pal Rachel just tweeted in, Lonzo, you can remind us that Clemson lost to SC this year, but I can still picture you in that Clemson jersey on the live feed.
Yeah. And she's right. I can't erase that. I lost, and I paid up my bets because that's what you do when you lose a bet. Still not nearly as bad as when I had all the magnets on my car when I lost a bet.
I've worked a lot of jobs over the years. I have been an insurance adjuster. I have been a bank teller and manager. I have worked retail. I have been a bartender and waiter. I've done a lot of jobs over the years. Sunday after the Panthers game, Lonzo and I hooked up on the StreamYard to record the Views from Mint Street podcast, available where major podcasts are found.
We got together, hooked up. I don't know if I would say it that way.
We linked up. Whatever you want to call
all
it.
right.
We got together to do the podcast, and I told Zoe, I was like, dude, I have made a tragic mistake. He's like, what? It's like, I should be working tomorrow, right? Like, no other job have I ever had where I had a week-long vacation. It was like, man, I wish I was working. Sunday, I told Zoe, off the record, not recorded, just me being me. I was like, damn, I should not have taken tomorrow off. I should have taken the last 3 days of next week off. But I should be working tomorrow. I'm glad I'm back, man. I'm glad I'm back. Missed you guys. Missed this. Missed you guys. All right. Texter says, Rob is clearly a Michigan fan. He hates Ohio State, and with a passion, because he's a Harbaugh disciple and hates Ohio State because of Urban Meyer.
You might be onto something there, but I don't think he hates Ohio State.
I don't hate Ohio State.
He could.
I don't hate Ohio State.
There are people calling for Urban Meyer to come back, though.
There really are, dude.
I believe Desmond Howard actually.
Did he really?
Joked about that on there. Yeah, he's on the downslide. He for sure is.
All right. I just love that Rob is clearly a blank fan because has become a template for a meme this morning. So glad I'm back. All right. So Clemson gets knocked off, and the question
Hey,
is,
hold on a second. I need to point out what I'm putting on our chapters here, and it's Beamer Ball defeats all in. Hashtag all in. I just want to, in case people, you know how chapters work. If you go to the free Odyssey app and say you're wondering what did Rob and Lonzo talk about in the last segment, hashtag all in, you can go back to that chapter and you can look at it and see what it's titled, which is Beamer Ball defeats all in, which is, I don't know if you knew this, but that's what happened last Saturday.
I had heard, actually.
I will stop next year.
Have the Tigers peaked, right? Have the Tigers peaked. After the game on Monday, because absolutely was I sitting around on Monday. We did, what did we do Monday? We really did. Oh, I went to Destin Monday. Went to the Boathouse on Monday. Just hung out, listened to my favorite cover band. But during the day, right? During the day, we didn't really have a whole heck of a lot to do. It's kind of chill with the La Familia. So what was Rob doing but sitting at the table, show prepping for a show he didn't have that day or the next? And wouldn't you know it, I happened to find my way to a Clemson Tiger message board. Let me read you the first comment that showed up for me from a user called Apple Tiger User. Apple Tiger User. It says, quote, Dabo may have peaked on the downhill run now career-wise, question mark. And he says, quote, happens to lots of dudes, especially if you hit the big payday at middle age. I'm sure he'd love nothing more than to put his feet up and go fishing with the Bowden brothers and Spurrier off the Keys. I totally get it. He's going to have to figure out what he really wants with the next 10 years. If it's not Clemson football, then so be it. Clemson fans are smashing the panic button right now. Smashing the panic button.
It's one game, guys. I mean, it's one game. Well, okay, fine. I was
smashing the panic button.
You know. Yeah, but that's what they do, Rob. I know you haven't been around for that, but you've just seen the beginning of that.
Now, let's clarify this. As I have said a number of times, do you know what college football program would love to have so much success that barely missing the playoffs because you lost by a single point to your in-state rival is considered a massive disappointment worthy of smashing the panic button? You know which college football program would love to have that level of success? All of them. All of them wish they had that much success. That's just a fact. But they don't. There's very few. As we were talking about with Lonzo on Sunday, there are messages flying around the Ohio State message boards right now that if Ryan Day loses, by the way, Lonzo, what's Ohio State's record right now?
We've lost one game.
Yeah, they're 11-1. Hey, Lonzo, what are the odds that Ohio State could still make it into the college football playoffs?
They're pretty good.
Pretty good. I'd say about 40%.
Yeah. Could even make it in after tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. Could very well sneak in, right? And yet, one loss. And there's Buckeye fans, two losses to Michigan. And there are Buckeye fans ready to smash the eject button and send Ryan Day into the sun.
By the way,
what?
I'm not going to save this for Twitter trending topics because it applies to what you're talking about right now. Vrabel is trending and has been trending for 2 days now.
Are
because
the Buckeyes calling for him?
People want Vrabel to replace Ryan Day.
What in the, and pardon my French, blue hell, dude? Sorry, maize and blue hell.
Told you. The funny
Lonzo tells me that, and I'm like, dude, shut up. I'm like, Lonzo, knock it off, dude. He's like, I'm not kidding. I'm like, no, dude, you're not firing Ryan Day because he lost 2 games to Michigan when you are in the playoffs and might get back in this year. And so I was like, dude, you don't understand. Beating Michigan's more important than the playoffs. I'm like, no, stop it.
Well, I don't know if it's more important, but it's very important. Here's the reason why. Because how many times do you see a losing season for the Ohio State Buckeyes? You just don't.
You don't.
You don't see that. Someone has a losing season, they're out the next season. But I've seen other coaches who win a lot of games but can't beat Michigan and they're gone. That's just how it happens. But Ryan Day would make a great offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers.
Keegan just said Clemson's now the guy in high school that was super cool and a really good athlete, but didn't go pro and won't stop coming to the high school games and trying to relive his glory days. Remember when?
Oh, that's a very accurate depiction of what a good portion, the loud portion of Clemson fans are.
Let me read this. Let me read this text to the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Texter says, every fan base has keyboard crackheads. 3 weeks ago, people were calling for Beamer's head. And I would like to say, absolutely, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. After the loss to Mizzou and after the beatdown laid on the Gamecocks by the Gators of Florida, who then, as who was it? I think Joseph pointed out earlier, Florida then lost the next two, right? There were, and don't try to cover it up, Gamecock fans. There were some of y'all hitting this show up saying, Beamer got to go. He's not the guy, right? He's not the guy. He's not ready. He's not at that level. He can't do it. Every time the pressure builds, every time the Gamecocks are ready to turn a corner, Beamer fades. Welp, we said before the year, 6-6 is the lowest acceptable outcome. 7-5 would be a good step forward. 8-4, and I'll go back and pull the audio. I said 8-4 is a realistic possibility, but it would take at least one win that you did not expect. The Gamecocks got two. They got two, Tennessee and Clemson. No disrespect to the Gamecock fans. Y'all should not have expected to beat Clemson at Clemson, all right? Not after Florida, not after Mizzou. I don't care. I know it's a Tennessee win, but again, that Tennessee win was such the anomaly, right? Nobody expected South Carolina to beat Tennessee for sure. There might have been some of y'all that realistically thought there was upset potential, but the majority of people who were on the radio last Friday saying, oh yeah, South Carolina's got a real chance here. Real chance to upset. I think they were playing a fan base, right? They playing a fan base. I thought it could be close. I didn't think they'd win. But yes, every team has their, quote, keyboard crackheads, end quote. But I'm looking through the Clemson Tiger message boards on Monday, and all I see is Clemson fans going, double's done. It's got to go, right? Send them fishing with the Bowden brothers and Steve Spurrier. Send them down to the Keys, put them on a boat, get them up out of here. It's time to move on. I'm like, dude, calm down.
They're having flashbacks of this. If you're watching on the stream, you see that I'm holding up my hand, and there are five, fingers there, the 5 wins in a row that South Carolina had, and how people were wanting Dabo gone then. They're remembering that.
It's just panic, right?
It's just panic. It is. Here's
because one leads to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and then you got to do it all over again.
There you go. Here's the problem with Clemson. They've lost too many assistant coaches that were a big part of the team, and Trevor and Deshaun. That's a thing that doesn't happen. I mean, there are teams who are able to reload, and it looked like Clemson was that team for a while, but the mini dynasty appears to be over.
Look, it's real simple.
You still could win the ACC. I don't know how much that means.
You will, by the way. Going to be a double-digit dog over a North Carolina team that has dropped, 2 of their last 3 and 4 of their last 5, or 3 of their last 5. Going to be a favorite in Charlotte. I really want to go up there for that game. I really want to go up for that game. Anyway, during his radio show after the L, a Clemson fan asked Dabo if he was going to make some changes to the coaching staff. Sweeney said, quote, well, that's what I get paid to do. All I can tell you is I'm going to do my job. And if it comes a time where people don't like how I do my job, then they can hire somebody else. But until then, I ain't ever going to make – I like that Jimbo absolutely morphed there. But I ain't ever going to make decisions based on what other people want me to do. I can tell you that if I did that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you tonight, end quote. Then he said after that, quote, if that's the mindset of Clemson, but so the setup there was that the team is 10-2 and they're not going to make it to the college football playoff spot, right? He said, quote, if that's the mindset of Clemson, there will be a new head coach here and there will be a new staff every year and will be a very mediocre, inconsistent program. That's how I look at it. Basically what he's saying, and this is what I found really interesting. What he is saying is, hey, if you expect to make it to the playoffs every year and you don't make it to the playoffs and you have the reaction that you're having to me right now, then I'll be gone. My coaches will be gone. You guys will be rotating coaches every year and it's going to suck for you, right? Basically said, hey, be happy with 10-2. Be happy with an ACC championship game. We'll make it back to the big picture when we make it back to the big picture. Right? Dabo's reeling a little bit. And it's understandable. Of course he's reeling. He just lost the biggest game that he's lost so far as the head coach of the Tigers. Biggest L so far. Because not only does it knock Clemson out of the playoffs, but now the Gamecock fans are over there like, oh, baby, we back. We're in this thing. We can get them again, right? It's a big L. And he's reeling a little bit. And again, nothing wrong with that. But the question is, are they on the drop-off while South Carolina's on the rise? And we'll continue to talk about that as the show rolls on. Got to take our final break of this hour. We'll come back. We'll put a bow on it. Hour number 2, let's be real. We're probably going to stay right here and keep talking about it. South Carolina downs Clemson 31-30. It's Fallout Thursday. Rob Lonzo, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate, y'all. All right, Kevin, we're coming back to that. I like that my guy James knew exactly what message board I was looking at. Exactly what message board I was looking at. Amazing. He said, what Neanderthal was calling for Beamershop? A lot of them. A lot of them. It was almost hilarious, to be honest with you. Maybe Ohio State should hire Cam since, colleges are just hiring random quarterbacks that have led 7v7 academies. Yeah, how about it? Trent Dilfer, now the head coach at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. The Blazers, Keegan, you know this as well as I do. The Blazers had about a 3-year run where that football program was like real impressive for being the level of football that they are.
All right. But this is less surprising than Jeff Saturday. I mean, Dilfer is
because it's low-level college football.
And also Dilfer was known to be very intelligent,
sure.
And he was a quarterback, and there were so many things. He's one of those guys that was able to coach on the field type thing. So I think this is less surprising than and he probably will do pretty well. I mean, I don't know what that is at UAB. What is it? What's pretty well there?
Speaking of Furman Paladins, Rob Brown picked up another job this weekend.
Way to go, man. Yeah, this time he picked up a job and it affects me too.
You're welcome.
Because it wouldn't have mattered if he picked up the job. It still would affect me. But can't wait to see how that goes. Sure, it's going to be awesome.
Oh, I'm going to kill it.
Of course you are.
Basketball play-by-play is
I'm
my thing.
I'm more worried about my end because you have no idea what I have to do because we've got to run it out of there, and it's very tricky. And the way today started, I'm not sure I have capabilities of making it function.
classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere. University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This is Jimmy Conrad, one-third of In Soccer We Trust, a CBS Sports Network podcast covering every angle of the U.S. men's national team's return to the World Cup stage. The Stars and Stripes lock horns with Wales, England, and Iran later this month. In Soccer We Trust will be there for every step of the way before, during, and after the tournament, including match previews and recaps.
Kentucky running back has entered the transfer portal. I would say his name, but I can't pronounce his first name. Is it
Where? Who? What?
Cavoisi Smoke?
Oh, Cavassier.
Cavassier. Okay. All right.
Smoke.
All right.
Best running back name in years.
All right. Well, he's entered the transfer portal.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Well, I mean, according to a tweet that I've seen.
Mark Richt has lost control of Tennessee. Don't you worry, Steven. If you think I don't have U.S. hot takes lined up, buddy, stay tuned.
By the way, my daughter found out yesterday, and I saw it everywhere, that California has approved murder robots. So we definitely will be talking about that Saturday.
Murder robots.
Yes. When has Deion Sanders not been successful? I mean, that's the thing. Are you rooting for him to fail? I'm not. I hope he does a good job.
So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. From the Ingles Market Studio, the Fan.
97.7 FM. 97.1 FM.
From the free CBS Sports Radio. More than the score. Real sports talk for real sports.
I'm upset, Rob. I'm upset about something. All right, my clever title that I put in for chapters, I think someone at corporate is a Clemson fan because they erased it. I'm going to put it back in, though. They erased it. It's gone.
Conspiracy.
I happen to know that someone who works there is a Clemson fan because the orange that is now in our logo has something to do with someone being a graduate.
Is that true? Wow.
There's always a hint of truth in all conspiracy. That's what makes it.
You just made that up, and I'm hooked.
Oh
line,
no!
and sinker
Oh no!
again.
No! Well, I was told by a higher up, which I believe is trustworthy. So there's that.
Okay.
Quit erasing my stuff, corporate.
Okay. I'll look into that. I'm curious. I mean, ain't enough numbers on my paycheck to matter, but I'm interested. All right. Texter said to reference Revenge of the Nerds, which is always going to get you on this show. To reference Revenge of the Nerds, do you want to live in the ascendancy of college football teams' success or its decline? The Gamecocks are on the rise. That's from Cocky for a Reason. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for texting in. Texter said, Rob Brown, how dare you leave us for 3 days after that Clemson upset? Carlos with a K was good, but we needed you. I mean, I'm back. Listen, as I pointed out, there was a part of me, Lonzo, that was going to text Carlos and be like, hey, can you do Thursday instead of Monday? Right? Let me do Monday. I'll just work Monday. You take Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be back Friday.
You could have called in. It's your show.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that to him. Like, if it would have been somebody from here, if it would have been like one of our local guys that was filling in for me, 100% would have called in. But my man Kay working up from the big city. You know, I didn't want to be like, hey, Carlos, I know you built a show. I know you built a flow. I know you're stepping in. But I'm going to call in and guest host a segment on my own show that you did all the prep work for. I wasn't about to do that to him. He didn't deserve that. But we appreciate him having stepped in to do that for us. Thank you very much, Carlos. Anyway, I don't know, man. So what's the thought here, yeah? What's the thought here? Is Clemson on a decline? Is USC on a rise? Or is this overreaction to a rivalry game? It is a rivalry game. You were going to get the best Carolina could throw at you, and they went on the road. And by the way, let me just say that this whole thing about Clemson was cocky and Clemson came in arrogant and Clemson dude, I think Clemson came to play football. I think you got not the best performance we had seen. That would have been against Miami last week. But I think Clemson played, with the exception of, and it's not all on DJ, but we'd be lying to say DJ Uiagalelei had a good day. He did not.
I didn't. Again, I'm not unaware that he plays defense or special teams because South Carolina put up a lot of points. That had nothing to do with DJ.
Yeah.
And your question that you ask, I think there has been a decline at Clemson for a couple years, and it has to do with, again, losing some of their assistant coaches and the fact that Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson aren't there anymore. And people have a standard, think they're going to get that next guy, that next big guy, because they did it 2 years in a row, and it doesn't always happen that way. And as far as South Carolina goes, the Tennessee win makes it look a little more like the trajectory is up because you got 63 points on Tennessee, then you beat Clemson, your rival. So without the Tennessee win, it would be like, yeah, South Carolina just got lucky. But because of the Tennessee win, it looks more like an upward trend.
Here's a question I want to ask coming up in the next hour. And Clemson fans, I know it has been a long week for you. I know it's been a struggle for you. I get it. But I'm going to give you a crack at it. I want your honest evaluation of the program. This was my thought. You guys were very, very fortunate to be able to string together a trio of exceptional quarterbacks, right? Kelly, Deshaun, Trevor, a trio of exceptionally good quarterbacks. DJ was supposed to be next in that line. He's not. Okay. I like DJ. He's a great dude. I've had the opportunity to interview him, 3 times? Stellar dude. Like him a lot, but very clearly does not fall into the mold of Kelly, Deshaun, and Trevor, right? It's obvious. Has Dabo been carried? And he's not alone. You know what? Hold that. I'm going to give you another head coach who was propped up to, he's the next this guy, that guy. He's the next legend, based solely on having the right guy under center at the right time. And I'm going to ask the question, is it a ridiculous concept that maybe Dabo is in that group, but he just hit on more of those guys? I'm going to set that up when we come back. I just stumbled into a damn good thought. Happens once a month. I'll give it to you when we come back. Rob and the Great One, you're listening to The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
James, dude.
Uh-oh. Now I'm afraid to come out to the stream.
Oh, no, you'll love it.
Glad you said that, Joey B, because that is what we are coming right back to. And I'm just going to flash it on the screen. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
He's just glossing over your comment, James. I'm not.
Oh, no. We'll come back to that, too.
Especially considering, what James's logo is. So, I mean.
All right, hit the restroom. Be right back. I know you were all concerned about where I'm going.
Don't leave, Rob.
best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at Bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever, only at Bartesian.com/cocktail.
Where is that coming from? Weird.
Now they travel to New England for their first meeting of the year with Bill Belichick's 6-5 Pats. Join me and Jason McCourty for all the action on Thursday Night Football.
Get ready for the game with more details and preview at WestwoodOneSports.com.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Lucky President State for the wager. 21 plus select states. First online, no money wager. Only refund issue is out.
It wasn't bad, Steven. It was actually one of those. I still had to do a lot of work, but I mean, I took it easy, had fun. And one thing about us doing the podcast, we still have to do it even while we're on vacation. And there were some complications here that needed my attention. But other than that, it was good. Thanks for asking.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Granger gets you, and we're here for you. And all
QC Kinetics in first break.
10-4.
Plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your
Hey, were we supposed to have a guest today?
or just stop by. Granger.
I didn't talk to Rashad. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking. Because it's too late now,
Yeah.
but, you know,
I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.
so what was the best dish on the Thanksgiving table? Not the turkey, but the best dish.
Oh, broccoli casserole. My grandma drops a broccoli casserole on us every year. That is just spectacular.
My wife makes that too, but that's which is always really good, but still got to go with the sweet potato casserole. It was all I could do to not ask Carlos about this, and I almost did, and I should have.
Be a salad on his table.
No. About the about Zach. He was talking about
Oh, you should.
Zach Wilson, but I did ask him about the incident from the morning show,
Yeah,
if it was real, and he said yes.
I believe it. Will you do me a favor? Will you find the World Cup soccer game, please?
Yeah.
For him in the remote. And I'll do it.
I get it because they're in the same. He's in the same building with all those guys.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He also told me in the room he was in order to do the show, he had to hold a button down the entire time. I'm like,
He had to manually hold a button.
yeah, that's what he said. Like, that sucks.
Yeah. Do.
So if you erase my thing again, corporate, it's weird. Never said I didn't.
Our numerados to the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Phenomenal to have you along with us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo sitting across the board from us, my co-host and partner in crime, Uri Day. We have got a lot of stuff to talk about as we continue to move forward. Those of you that have been waiting, anticipating a little World Cup talk, you're going to get it very briefly. We're going to get into where the United States of America is after they were able to hold on against Iran and finish up with a 1-0 victory that moved them into the knockout round. They will play the Netherlands on Saturday morning. Loser goes home. And that, folks, is going to be a big one. Going to be a big one. And we'll talk about that. Let's get into this. I had a thought while we were wrapping up the hour. And I want to get Clemson fans' reaction to it. Here's the thought I had. Dabo Swinney, is he just a slightly better recruiting Jimbo Fisher? Now, before you panic, hear me out. Jimbo Fisher took over at Florida State. When he did, he took over a program that had been recoiling a bit in the final few years and following the departure of the legendary Bobby Bowden. Bobby left FSU because, quite frankly, the game had passed him by. Recruiting had passed him by. The game had gotten faster. He was still trying to run the 1990 style program that he had built, and it did not go well. Did not go well at all. So Bobby leaves. The program's in a bit of disarray. Jimbo Fisher was the coach in waiting. He took over. When he took over at Florida State University, it took him a little while to get going, right? He took over in 2010. The Noles did end up first in the Atlantic that year and win the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Final record 10-4. Then they went 9-4, 12-2. Wasn't bad at all. Then he found a cat by the name of Jameis Winston. With Jameis Winston, the Noles went 14-0. They won the ACC outright at 8-0. And they won the final BCS national championship game in which they defeated the Auburn Tigers. Kelvin Benjamin had himself an absolute moment at the end of that game. Year after that, 13-1, they went to the Rose Bowl. They got smoked by Oregon. It was not good. And then the downfall started. 10-3 in 2015. They lost in the Peach Bowl. They came in second in the Atlantic Division. 2016, they went 10-3, third in the Atlantic. They did win the Orange Bowl that year, but who cares? And then in 2017, he was 5-6, 3-5 in conference, and then bounced, right? Headed over to Texas A&M. Now, in that stretch, Jimbo Fisher found Jameis Winston. And in finding Jameis Winston, he hit on something. He hit on a world-class quarterback. Let's look at Dabo, right? Look at Dabo. Dabo took over in 2008. First 3 years, 4-3, 9-5, 6-7. 2011 went 10-4. It was around that time, they lost in the Orange Bowl that year, by the way. It was around that time that, those first 3 years, I think that Clemson fans, and Zoe, you were here, you probably clean up some thoughts here. If I recall correctly, and again, I was broadcasting down in the Panhandle of Florida, so we had some connections to the Tigers in that at the time, FSU was okay. And that was an ACC rivalry that got talked about once a year. But there was a point in time very early in Dabo Swinney's career that, if I recall correctly, Clemson fans were not sold on Dabo. That after a couple of years, they were ready to move on. All right, the experiment didn't work. Going in-house, let's move on. You get to 2012, 11-2 win the Chick-fil-A Bowl. 2013, 11-2 win the Orange Bowl. 2014, 10-3 win the Russell Athletic Bowl. Then 2015 hits. And now you start putting together a run of quarterbacks. You start putting together a run of really good quarterbacks. You go 14-1 in 2015, losing the national championship game. 14-1 in 2016, win the national championship game. 12-2 in 2017, play in and lose the Sugar Bowl. 2018, win the national championship. 2019, back in the national championship, do not win it that year. 2020, lose the Sugar Bowl. And then you end up 10-3 and winning the Cheez-It Bowl last year. Dabo hit on a string of excellent quarterbacks, which means if we want to follow this train of thought, and this is where I'm asking for the reaction of Clemson fans, Dabo's just a more successful Jimbo Fisher, right? In that he has done a better job of successfully navigating the world of college quarterback recruits. He's been able to find a handful of them that have been able to increase the efficiency of their football program, right? Without Jameis Winston, Jimbo Fisher is not in College Station right now. Without Jameis Winston, Jimbo Fisher is not making $90 million. Well, it's actually more than that. That's I think his buyout at the end of the year is what, $89.7 million? Without Jameis, that ain't it. Because without Jameis, that 2013 Florida State team does not win a national championship. It was that Dabo hit on Jameis that won him a title. It was that Dabo hit on Jameis that sent him to College Station, sent him to Texas A&M. Remember, Jameis Winston was going to go to Alabama and play for Nick Saban. Jameis Winston also wanted to play baseball. Bama wasn't so keen on the idea. Jimbo was like, yeah, dog, that's fine by me. Come on, get here. Let's do this thing. He ended up a Knoll. They won the 2013 title because of it. Jimbo Fisher was then elevated to, oh, he's the next Nick Saban. Then he gets to A&M and look at him now, right? Beat LSU this weekend, sure, but like a bad football team. He's been there a couple of years. This isn't like his first year and he's taken over. These are his guys. They're just not good. The difference between Jimbo and Dabo, and I'm asking this as a question, not declaring it as fact, although I am leaning that way. The difference between Dabo and Jimbo is that Jimbo hit on a quarterback, won a natty, and was able to put together a few years of solid football because he hit on a quarterback. Dabo, on the other hand, hit on a few quarterbacks. And they carried him, right? Now, I'm not saying there haven't been some pretty damn good Clemson football teams. And those football teams would have still been pretty good, even if there was no Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Kelly Bryant, et cetera, et cetera. But the question is, what's the difference? Talk me out of the, here's how I'll phrase it. Clemson fan, talk me out of the belief that Dabo Swinney is just Jimbo Fisher, but with more Jameis Winstonses. Can you do it? That's what I'm looking for. Can you talk me out of the belief that Dabo is Jimbo who just hit on more Jameis Winstons? Because this year, and for the record, let's be fair to the other side of the conversation, Zoe. There really aren't a lot of college football national championship contenders that don't have an excellent quarterback, right? I think you can look at the teams that are right now en route to the college football playoffs and see that. Now, you can make the argument that Stetson Bennett at Georgia isn't a great quarterback, but I think if you look at his statistics the last year and a half, you'll be pretty damn impressed. Where would you put the situation for Michigan's quarterbacks right now, Zoe, with McCarthy and McNamara? Say it's above average. It's not great, but it's above average.
I mean, they're not household names
Sure.
like some of the other guys
Yeah,
are.
they're not going to be in New York in a couple of weeks, right? Would you say that if I gave you the choice right now, DJ or JJ, who do you take? I think you take McNamara, right? Or excuse me, McCarthy.
Yeah, especially after last week.
Yeah, I think you take McCarthy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at TCU. TCU has an offense run by Max Duggan. He might very well be in New York. Caleb Williams at USC. CJ Stroud at Ohio State. Bryce Young at Alabama. Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. That's your top 7. College football is a game that is currently being dictated by, do you have a top-tier quarterback? You can win without one, but it takes an excellent team elsewhere to do so. Dabo had a string of great college football quarterbacks come through. Great college football quarterbacks come through. And Dabo was on the top of the college football world because of it. With that being said, now that he got stuck with an average, I'm not going to say bad. I don't think DJ's a bad quarterback, but I think he's very average, right? I think it worked out to be an average year. With an average quarterback, with a miss at the quarterback position, and by the way, we are talking about a 2-loss football team, right? We're talking about a 2-loss football team. This is why I'm kind of laughing at Clemson fans that are mashing the panic button like the college football world has turned upside down. You lost 2 games. One of them to a top 10 team in top 15 team in Notre Dame. Or at least they were. And one of them to your in-state rivals. It ain't the end of the world. But, as Dabo pointed out, if you expect to be a national championship contender every year, there's going to be some awkward years. Only 4 get in. As of right now, by the way, which we're talking about next, major hurdle to the 12-team playoff was popped over last night. Anyway, Jimbo hit on Jameis. He won a title, and he got a fat payday because of it. Dabo hit on a string of really good quarterbacks and won a couple of natties because of it. But now that he doesn't have one, Clemson looks okay. And yes, I know, like I said, we're talking about a 2-loss football team. But right now, Lonzo, Clemson versus Ohio State. Not even a playoff team as of today. Clemson versus Ohio State. What's your score? Unbiased.
I'm not sure I can do that. Either way, I would say
27-14?
I think Ohio State wins by
Yep.
at least 2 touchdowns, yes.
Clemson, Michigan.
Same thing.
Clemson, Georgia. Probably worse.
Probably worse, yeah.
Clemson, TCU. TCU. A team that a lot of people don't think belong there.
I,
Clemson, TCU.
I disagree. I think Clemson can beat TCU.
I don't. Based on the way they played South Carolina, based on the way they handled Spencer Rattler late in that game, I don't. Max Duggan's better than Spencer Rattler. And they have better talent on the edges. I don't. By the way, a game in which South Carolina lost a couple of offensive playmakers down the stretch. Right? I don't. So, anyway. Is Dabo a slightly better Jimbo Fisher? Is that a fair comparison to make or not? All right, text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Texter said the GOAT Tom Brady would struggle with Clemson wide receivers. I mean, yeah, they're not great, right? Lost one preseason. Bo Collins on a lot of other teams would be really damn good. Don't put this on don't how to phrase this politely. Don't let DJ off the hook, of whom I'm a fan, by the way, based on the receivers. DJ over and under threw a lot of open wide receivers this year. Texas says, not to mention the world-class wide receivers he hit on too, to elevate the quarterbacks even more. They have neither this year. That's fair. And that's kind of part of the gig, right?
Well, you lose those assistant coaches. You also lose their ability to recruit. I mean, and so they've went down in recruiting possibly. On a national level, you can look at where they end up being and think, oh, yeah, they're still right there, but are they?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not disagreeing. You've had some really good wide receivers come through there, but how many of those wide receivers, much like the ones this year, I think to some degree were dragged down by DJ, how many of them were lifted up by Kelly, by Trevor, by Deshaun, right?
I don't know. Some of those guys are pretty good, and they're still
I'm
playing
not
in the
disagreeing
league.
with that, but let me put it this way. I'm a Saints guy. Drew Brees was there for a long time. Do you know who the hell Lance Moore is if it's not for Drew Brees? No.
I still don't know who Lance Moore is. So
he's the one that caught the 2-point conversion in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Correct. He's the one that was right there in the midst of a couple of big plays in that playoff run. Lance Moore is not talked about if it wasn't for Drew Brees. A great quarterback elevates average receivers to look good, good receivers to look great, and great to look Hall of Fame. And that's what you've had there. Texture says, talent covers up for some questionable coaching, but coaching is what gets you the talent. It's the old adage, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I'll disagree. And again, I'm not saying Dabo is not. I just combined them to make Dimbo. I'm not saying that Dabo Swinney isn't a great coach. He is. But I think he's also a dude that better hit on the quarterback or it could go badly. Fan, you can't compare Dabo to Jimbo. Jimbo is sub 500 without Winston. Dabo is winning with Boyd and still winning today. I get it, man. I get it. But again, before those guys showed up, 4-3, 9-5, 6-7, 10-4. Then they showed up, and all of a sudden it's 11-2, 11-2, 10-3, 14-1, 14-1, 12-2, 15-0, 14-1. They leave, it's 10-2, 10-3, 10-2. Again, ask Florida State fans right now what they'd trade for a couple of 10-win seasons, right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying Dabo compared to Jimbo kind of makes sense a little bit to me. What are your thoughts? 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. I want your thoughts, Clemson fans. Can you talk me out of that belief? Texter said, Rob, Dabo didn't win on Saturday. Go Cox. Texter says, Rob obviously hates all coaches and is a player-only guy. Has Rob ever coached? Nope.
What are you even doing on the radio, man? Gosh.
I know. I never played. I never coached. Therefore, get off the radio, idiot. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Keep with that thought. South Carolina, let's flip that thing over. We talk Clemson. Let's talk Carolina after their big win. This is a rise. How big of one? We'll address that next. My name is Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo on the other side of the glass. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, we back. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. I learned how to graphic design. And by graphic design, I mean use a tool that does everything for you. You just plug and play. Pretty spectacular.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Granger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones.
Christmas. The season.
And so this is Christmas.
We know that nothing brings a family together quite like the holidays. And nothing brings a smile to our faces quite like
All right, now sing the Yoko Ono parts.
Oh, yeah.
Merry Christmas from England.
You ever seen that clip of her singing with John and Chuck Berry?
I've seen lots of clips of her singing. It's scary.
I don't judge other people's art. Sometimes I just say it's not for me and walk away, and that's okay. Except that. I judge that.
We should do a version of that on the karaoke special.
No. I guess anybody could do a Yoko impression. Just scream like a banshee into the microphone.
Do that. Watch Tim's head explode. His hair will like stand straight out. It would be amazing. Sylvester Stallone's Tulsa King has beat the premiere rating of House of Dragon
Really? That is,
with 3.7 million viewers tuning in to the Paramount series.
I'd be lying to tell you that isn't a little bit shocking.
Have you seen the previews?
Yeah, it looks kind of
I was
good.
going to say, I've been kind of interested in it.
I'll definitely watch it.
I've been watching Peripheral. You should watch it.
I saw the promos for that, and it does look good.
I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in. It starts out as just a VR thing, but it's really, really good.
I need to talk about that.
You can see law enforcement tactical teams and K9 patrol unit demonstrations. For more information, go to leosanta.com.
I'm really just going to see the dogs.
Call Rob.com. Special thanks to
Dogs are really cool.
Federal Credit Union, Lakeview Steakhouse.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Glad to have you back. Yeah, I don't know why I did that either. I really don't.
I thought that was amazing. You need to do that more often, like as many times as you can. It's because we were talking about Yoko Ono on the stream, and
Join us on the stream.
she like took over your body for just a moment.
Really. Join us on the stream by going to the Fan Upstate's Facebook page, by going to the Fan Upstate's Twitter page, or by checking us out on YouTube or Twitch at The Rob Brown Show. We'd love to have you. We stream all three hours of the show every single day. And on top of that, we have discussions off the air that are aside from the show itself, many of which do not pertain to sports as well. Apparently, Sly Stallone's new, is it a movie or a show?
It's a show. It's a Paramount
show?
Plus show,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Apparently did better numbers than the debut of House of the Dragon, which is initially surprised me. But then in the 3 minutes since we talked about it, I thought a little bit about it. And Zoe, I get it. Cause like I did not watch the House of the Dragon premiere because I was done with Game of Thrones, right? It was such a garbage ending to the regular show that I'm like, I'm not going to invest in any more Game of Thrones projects. And then everybody started ranting about it. So I checked it out and it's like, oh, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I will be interested to see if their end of show numbers match up with the House of the Dragons end of show numbers. Anyway, join us on the stream, and those are the types of conversations we have off the radio that you can participate in. Texter says, Rob, we are in a society climate of impatience and zero grace for mistakes or failures. I want it now, and it better be my way. Think about WWE, AEW wrestling fans. Imagine if the business world hired and fired CEOs, leaders, and managers the way college fan bases and programs hire, fire coaches. A CEO would have 1 year to turn around bad cultures, production, sales, and revenue, etc. Make zero sense, especially for a coach coming into a crap situation, end quote.
Wow, that was a text?
That was all one text.
Good job.
Yeah. All right. Let's break that down a little bit because it's interesting. Football is football. It's a game, right? It's a game. It is a business, but it's a game for us as fans, right? The overwhelming majority of football fans don't give a damn about the salary cap in the NFL. As much as y'all have groaned and whined and complained about it, how many of y'all that are anti-NIL watch less college football this year? 6 of you total. I did the research. 6 people stopped watching football because of NIL. Business decisions happen all the time. But you're fans. You don't care. And that's fine. So am I. Most of the time, I don't care. All right? Most of the time. But let me be, I don't know, macabre for just a second. Lonzo, the majority of dudes in my family make it to about 60, 65, right? I'm not saying I'm planning on getting to 65 and calling it a life, but the majority of dudes in my family make it to about 60, 65, and they check out, all right? Which means that if you take away, let's say, the first 10 years of your life, or maybe you're like a fan, but like you're a fan because your mom or pops is a fan. I might have 50 football seasons in me. And maybe I'll get lucky and I'll get more. But I might have 50 football seasons in me. That means that if my team is bad for just 5 seasons, that's 10% of the product that's bad for me, right? Now, if a CEO took over a major company and after 1 year, 10% of their product was bad, do you know what they would not be anymore?
Employed.
Correct. I showed up here to the Fan Upstate in the midst of some changes. Right? Changes to the vibe of the station, the branding of the station, the sound of the station, etc. If I showed up here and 10% of my shows sucked, I would not be here anymore. Right? 10%. And I'm, again, this is rough math founded on assumptions that I'm doing off the top of my head. But if 10% of the product of anything is bad, the people in charge of that product would not be there anymore, unless it was just like inherently part of the gig, right? If 10% of a company's cars that they sold were lemons and broke, they'd be put out of business. If 10% of airplanes fell out of the sky, none of us would fly anymore, right? So yes, they're not going to sit there and let a college football coach be bad for 4 or 5 or 6 years waiting for the turnaround. Because if 10% of something is bad, people walk away from it. Now, if you're a school like UAB, who just hired Trent Dilfer because reasons, UAB does not expect to be in the college football playoffs at any point, right? Doesn't mean they're not going to try. It's Cincinnati. They probably wouldn't have been in that group until Luke Fickell had him in that group. Look at Luke now. Luke's getting big time paid now, right? But if you are a top tier university, an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Florida State of Florida, an LSU, a Clemson, a South Carolina, if you're a top-tier university and 10% of your time is spent sucking, and if you look at it just as like 1 out of every 10 years, okay, if a coach has 1 out of every 10 years that's bad, that's one thing. But if a coach goes 5 or 6 years and it's bad, the problem is it breeds apathy. It breeds apathy in your fan base. Apathy in your fan base means people are walking away from your product. People walking away from your product means your product brings in less money. Your product bringing in less money is detrimental to everybody. So I get the premise, right? Like there are many times in my life that I'm like, man, this like attitude of instant gratification is a problem. The attitude of instant gratification is what has taken social media from what should be lighthearted and fun and a way to stay engaged with the rest of the human race and has turned it into a cesspool. That's what instant gratification does. I get the concept. I get the dislike of the instant gratification feel. I understand that. But to say that that is the problem, right? Like, I don't think it is. Now, do I think Clemson fans need to calm the hell down? Yup. Relax, take a breath. Because even if I'm right that Dabo is just a better Jimbo Fisher, that Dabo has got to hit on the right quarterback at the right time, even if I'm right, he's also displayed something that Jimbo Fisher is not, which is the ability to do that multiple times in a row, right? He missed on one with DJ. It's going to happen to everybody. Even Brady throws a pick every now and then. Did you miss me, Alonzo? Even Brady throws a pick every now and then. You got to take some solace in the fact that before he threw a pick with DJ, he went back-to-back-to-back touchdown passes with the 3 guys who lined up before him, right? Clemson fans that are on the message boards posting these insane rants about how Dabo needs to call it a career, the game's passed him by, go fishing with the Bowdens and Spurrier down in Key West. Y'all got to chill the hell out, my man. Relax. Because what if Cade is that dude, right? What if Cade is that dude? What if Cade is the next TL16? What if Cade steps up next year and is a Heisman threat? Clemson is right back where they were before. Maybe take it down just a notch. Because even if Dabo is a guy that has only won titles because he had elite caliber quarterbacks, the fact that he found them back-to-back-to-back, and by the way, Dabo wasn't the only dude that thought DJ Uiagalelei was that guy, right? He missed. It's okay. He's going to miss. The question is, how does he restock, reload, and roll to the next year? If Cade's that dude, if Cade is that dude, Clemson's going to be fine. They're going to be right back where they were. Right back where they were. Now, if Cade's not that dude, if Cade's not that guy, right? And he really is just a handoff machine and can't do anything else, then at that point you can go, okay, did Dabo lose the ability to find a quarterback? Did he lose the ability to find the right guy for the job at the right time? And if the answer to that is yes, now you got a problem. But there's no evidence to suggest that that is the case. NASA's really good at building rockets, but every now and then one blows up on the launch pad. Do they go, uh-oh, send all the rocket scientists home? No. They go, all right, what went wrong? This O-ring failed. That gasket blew off. A tile fell off and too much heat built up. Whatever. And they fix it. And they move on and they build another better rocket. And they send that one to Mars. Or whatever. You blew a gasket this year with DJ. I like the kid. I think he's a super dude. But he just ain't that guy. You won't have a problem unless Dabo comes in and Cade misses 2. Because if Dabo comes in and Cade misses 2, or if Cade comes in and Dabo misses 2 in a row, now you start worrying about, okay, are other recruits going to stop coming here? Is all the top talent that have been coming to Clemson and keeping them as a top 5, top 7 recruiting class every year without a quarterback and without a couple of back-to-back playoff runs, will other recruits start bailing? Then you got a problem. But as of right now, Clemson fans, calm the hell down. He missed on one. It's going to happen. Can he get it right next year? You're 10-2. All but like 6 other programs in America wish they were 10-2 this year. You missed on one. Take a breath. Relax. If Cade misses next year, then you got a problem. But until he does, there's nothing to panic about. Not yet. You lost one to a South Carolina team that is on the rise, had the best quarterback they've ever had come through, was electric and excited, right? You lost one. If they get you 4 more in a row, then you can mash that panic button, brother. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Hour number 3, we'll get away from college football. Got to talk World Cup. The Americans on to the knockout round after their 1-0 absolutely sphincter-tightening defeat of Iran on Tuesday. We'll break that game down. What went right, what went wrong, winners and losers, and what we can expect out of the Americans contest with the Dutch on Saturday morning. All that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Service they deserve when it came to buying a home. That's why he started Palmetto State Home Mortgage. For over 21 years, Sean's philosophy was and still is to say yes when others say no.
So you're saying Spencer Rattler's better than Connor Shaw? I disagree. Connor Shaw is the best quarterback ever played at South Carolina. To be disrespecting Connor Shaw. Plus, I read that someone tweeted that DJ wouldn't be at the school next year because he's transferring.
Heard that before.
Some radio guy tweeted that.
If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start events idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands
Well, that ain't good. They need to fix that.
And Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices.
Got a good game going here. 3 goals in the first half.
James, I appreciate it because I think I could hand the ball off just as well as Cade could. I've been working on that.
So did I, Steven. I was at the Madres house, and for the last 9 minutes of stoppage time, I was quite literally on my hands and knees in the middle of her living room, in a full-on panic. Full-on panic.
Did you need a paper bag? I mean, it's just a game.
I might as well have, honestly.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when
Are all the Iran players still alive?
Yes, but apparently there were celebrations in the street brought by Iranians who were excited that they had lost, and a couple of them got shot by the government for celebrating the L.
Okay.
Yeah. One of those I'm very glad to live where I live moments, Wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is tremendous as always to have you. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo, on the board on the other side of the glass. So our college football playoff rankings have been dropped. And as it stands right now, we have got Georgia still in that number 1 spot. We have still got TCU in that number 3 spot as USC climbs in. USC now finds itself inside of that top 4 for the college football playoffs. TCU 3, Michigan after their big win over Ohio State. By the way, Zoe, what? Tell me about that game. Your thoughts, because I have not gotten a chance to ask you about it yet, other than Ryan Day gets fired if he loses to Michigan again.
I think this is a matter of having too much adrenaline. I think that Michigan came in there. They were calm. They were cool. Ohio State had, if you've ever had too much adrenaline, it causes you to overreact, to do things that, like you're jittery. And that's, it got away from them in the fourth quarter. And I just think that's part of it. Or you could say that Michigan was a better team, at least for that day. But I do think adrenaline had a lot to do with it.
I think it's very possible. I think that, well, first off, I'll start with this. I don't necessarily believe that, bulletin board material is enough to win you a game. I do believe that if it's a game close, if a game is close going in and a team's got a little extra oomph, it can kind of push them over the edge. Who picked Michigan? Anybody pick Michigan? I didn't. I don't think you did. I don't think Mark Ortiz. I think everybody picked Ohio State. And you got to wonder if maybe that little bit of, for lack of a better word, disrespect maybe galvanized that Michigan football team a little bit.
Well, I mean, I know you can look at it that way, but there weren't a lot of fights. There wasn't a lot of, in your face. I mean, there's the normal stuff for a rivalry game, but not as much as has been in the past. I just think it was another day at the office for Michigan. And I think Ohio State came in wanting revenge, and they were hyped up to a degree where it started to get away from them, and then all the adrenaline left, and that was it. And if you've been really hyped up for something and then that stuff's gone, you just don't have anything left.
It's not unfair. It's not unfair. So Ohio State is now sitting at number 5. They are the first team in should anything go wrong, which basically at this point, I think, Zoe, you probably, I don't know, a TCU loss or a USC loss, I think needs to be, if USC loses, they're out. Ohio State will go in if USC loses the Pac-12 championship.
See, I think the same with TCU. I think the only two teams that are safe are Michigan and Georgia.
TCU, I think if TCU loses a close one, then perhaps they could sneak in. They've got because remember, they're playing a top 10 team or top 20 team in Kansas State. If TCU loses a close one to Kansas State, who is sitting currently at number 10, they probably could still sneak in. But I'm talking when I say close, I mean like 1, 2, 3 point game. They lose by a touchdown or more, I think Ohio State could jump them.
But Rob, what if two teams lose? Would that put Ohio State and Alabama in the top 4, or would they jump Tennessee over Alabama and put them in?
So first off, my question is, both are 10-2. Was Tennessee's loss to South Carolina viewed so much more negatively than both of Alabama's losses coming out?
63 points. That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, but Tennessee also straight up beat Alabama, right? But Alabama's right behind them. I think that part of that is nobody wants Tennessee in without Hendon Hooker at the helm. I think if Hendon Hooker's still the quarterback, they might be number 6 and the second team in, right? But they are where they are. If TCU loses a close game to a top 10 Kansas State, I think they could still theoretically get in by way of participate. It is just the participation ribbon that comes along with being in your conference championship game, right? If they don't, then we're going to see exactly how much the committee truly values playing in a conference championship. Because they would end up with the same number of losses as Ohio State, but one extra game by way of playing in the Big 12 championship, whereas obviously Ohio State will not have
supposed to be the best 4 teams. It's the other stuff should factor in, but in the end, they're supposed to pick the best 4 teams.
I don't disagree. That is the alleged setup.
And by the way, I've said this before. I'll say it again. If Ohio State doesn't make it in, they lost their playoff game. They lost against Michigan. So they don't deserve to get in. But if they do get in, I'm going to root for them, obviously.
We'll see. I think if TCU loses in a close one, they could probably stick there. If USC loses, they bounce. All right. I think that's the only team in the top 3 that I can say with certainty if they lose their conference championship, they bounce is USC. USC wins, they're in. TCU win. All 4 teams they win, they're in, obviously. USC loses, they bounce. TCU loses, I think it's just how they lose, right? If they lose to Kansas State in a very close game, that is a top 10 L. Ohio State has an L. It is also a top 10 L, but it's a top 2 L. At the time, top 3 L. Does that hold enough weight to move the Buckeyes ahead of TCU? I don't know. The only one thing I'll say with confidence, I do not see Alabama getting in. I don't see a 2-loss team getting in ahead of a 1-loss team that did not play in their conference championship when Alabama didn't either. If Alabama wins the East, scratch that West as a 2-loss team, then I could see them getting in with 2, just like I thought LSU would have if they beat Georgia till they lost to A&M. But I think Ohio State's got the best chance of the teams that aren't in to get in. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour number 3, everything we have not gotten to yet. We have not gotten yet to the World Cup, the Atlanta Braves in the hot stove, and more, all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Saw the entire Lego Star Wars thing is coming to Game Pass. So you could
the whole universe,
the whole thing. So you could start from episode 1 and play all the way through to the end.
Games are surprisingly fun.
They are. But I don't know if I could play that many in a row.
Mickey Joseph, the interim head coach at Nebraska for 9 games after Scott Frost was fired, was arrested yesterday by police in Lincoln, Nebraska on suspicion of strangulation and third-degree domestic assault.
Oh.
After officers responded to a domestic disturbance call, Joseph was then placed on administrative leave. NBA Celtics center Al Horford just agreed to a 2-year, $20 million deal that will kick in next season. Baseball 88-year-old Hall of Famer Gaylord Perry passed away from natural causes at his South Carolina home this morning. 2 matches right now at the World Cup. Belgium and Croatia are scoreless. Morocco up 2-0 on Canada. Both matches are in the 33rd minute. I'm Greg Conservative.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments,
My wife is still not over the Michigan victory.
no, Fisher Investments doesn't.
She was very unhappy Saturday.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com.
Also, the Willow series just dropped yesterday. If you never watched the movie, it probably doesn't mean a lot to you.
I
But
have not.
yeah, but I love the movie came out before Lord of the Rings, before any of that. It was the first major fantasy
Yeah.
movie on screen, and it was Ron Howard and George Lucas. So, series isn't bad.
Bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertainment. The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves.
Would you consider it an off-color prank if I were to frame a bunch of pictures of feet and just hang them all over the studio?
I would wonder why it is my producer wants to fight me.
Well, I'm executive producer. I don't belong to anyone. So now I want to do it. It's because of that. But who doesn't want to fight Rob because he's never been in a fight before? You should check it out, Trey. The first 2 episodes dropped yesterday. It has a lot of the same feel to it, which is what I was. But when Warwick Davis, the guy who plays Willow, when he shows up on the screen, he just like takes over. It's awesome. It is a little predictable though. You know, that Kenny Mayne guy would probably be a great interview.
Yeah, I think any show that nailed him down as a guest would be like absolutely on it, you know?
Carlos, by the way, freaking out a little bit over some of the promos playing with wrestlers on it.
Was it really?
Yes.
I like it.
Told him how we broke the Captain Insano news right here on this program. Took a little while. Good move, Trey, because we're definitely talking about it. Trying to get someone to help me come up with a voice for Santa Baby, because we've never sang Santa Baby. And Pappy is concerned about someone singing Santa Baby while Pappy Claus is in the room. He's probably not going to react well. Talk about the LEO thing.
Yeah.
We still haven't done it.
And away we go. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the radio broadcast with us today. Give us a shout at 71307 on the Preferred Home Services text line, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air, ladies and gentlemen. You can also give us a call and go on the air with us at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FAN, F-O-N-E, 844-FAN-PHONE if you want to get at us in that direction. Do want to make sure that we tell you about something very cool coming up today. It is the 2022 LEO Toy Drive going on today at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, brought to you, of course, by the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, Robin Aereo, Harley-Davidson of Greenville, TLC Motors, Long Heating and Air, Michael's Flooring, Borderlands, Lakeview Steakhouse, Greenville Heritage, FCU Hardee's, and Odyssey. We are very excited about it. They loaded in everything yesterday. If you get a chance, go by, drop off a toy. They are going to be out there tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. From 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. They also have a lot of law enforcement officers out there putting on different displays. You're going to be able to see some of their equipment in action. They're going to have their K9 team. Their demo unit is going to be out there. You can go by. I believe they're going to be out there all afternoon, if I recall correctly, for our little blue light Christmas. It's going to be awesome. They are out there today until 7 p.m. Yep. Today from 6 a to 7 p. And by the way, if I may, there's a Greenville Swamp Rabbit game right after that. So, come by, drop off a toy, stick around for a little hacky, right? Nothing wrong with that. Going to be out there till 7 p.m. today for the Leo Santa Toy Drive. Every single year, these officers give their time. They go out there and they just try to put together a little special something for Christmas for underprivileged upstate kids who might not ordinarily have, a traditional Christmas so far. There are going to be media out there all day long, not just our friends at Odyssey. In fact, I think, if I recall correctly, Mark Ryan is going to be out there doing offsides later on today. You can come see him. Listen, I'm not saying I'm going to stand in front of the table and heckle Mark Ryan for 4 hours, but I'm not saying that. So, we can have some fun with that.
By the way, don't do that. Don't go up and heckle Mark while he's trying to do a live show. Don't do that. We would never suggest that anyone should do that. But Rob can get away with it because he's an employee.
And I'm very handsome.
Well,
there's that.
All you got to do is go up and just stand next to him, and people will probably look at you and not at him. That probably would bother him.
You know how successful the silent heckle is as a radio guy? If you come up to me and you're like, Rob, you suck! That's one thing.
If you do that, you're still not going to be louder than him, so he's not going to hear
Correct.
you.
But if you come just stand in front of the table and stare at me, I will get uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. We're not asking
Why
people
am I
to do
saying
that.
this out loud?
Yeah.
When Mark's going to be on location today from 37 at the Bon Secours.
If you were to do that around Mark, just make sure you bring a toy and drop it off.
Yes, please do that. That's the important part. The Rabbits, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits will be out there. Stomper is going to be out there as well. So come on by today and tomorrow. They're going to be out there until 7 p.m. today. And then tomorrow from 6 until 10 a.m., They will be out there collecting toys so that underprivileged children around the upstate can have a little Christmas magic in their life as well. All right. So do us a favor, grab a toy, unwrapped, wrapped up, grab a wrapped toy, bring it on over to the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, drop it off, and let's make sure we give a killer Christmas to the kids in the upstate who might not otherwise have one. And of course, we want to thank everybody from the Leo Santa Toy Drive, all those law enforcement officers who are going to be taking time out of their day to make this event happen. We appreciate it greatly. I will be there this afternoon. Mark Ryan's going to be doing a show live. I will probably run around circles around his table just to see how much I can distract him. Should be a good time. Come on by.
Do the Shane McMahon thing, or Shawn Michaels making fun of Shane.
I'm just going to walk up to him like Vince.
There you go.
See what he does.
You think Mark has a deep-seated fear of mascots?
I don't know, but I know Stomper personally.
Yeah, because if you found that out, you could have Stomper just go over and do the silent heckle.
I mean, I know Stomper personally, right? I can text Stomper right now. Be like, hey, this table, 4:07 p.m. Be there. Stomper.
By the way, there's a video going around.
Stomper listens to this show, by the way. That's a fact.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So we are not suggesting that you do that, Stomper, but you should.
I'm just saying, text me, Stomper.
Yeah, there you go. Of a certain Cleveland quarterback, there's a video going around that he's back under center, and like almost everyone he throws the ball to, they drop it. I'm just saying. I find that kind of funny.
I don't not find it funny. I don't not find it funny. This one's the Houston Texans get to play Deshaun this weekend. Sincere question, Lonzo. How excited do you think they are right now? The Texans, with the opportunity to get one back over on Deshaun.
I don't know. I think it's hard to be excited at all if you're a Houston Texan.
Yeah, they're not good. They are not good at the footballs.
Hey, but they're going to get that number 1 pick. Good for them. Then someone else can go there and go, wow, we're not that good.
Yeah.
Please don't pick CJ.
Texter said, just scream, Baker! At him over and over. Maybe.
I would say just come up and stand in front of him and make a steeple with your hands and just kind of stand there. And don't do anything. Just stand there.
All right. Leo Santa Toy Drive today till 7 p.m. at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Come on by, drop off a unopened toy for the kids so some of these underprivileged kids can have themselves a Christmas as well. There'll be media from all different outlets from around the upstate there. Mark's going to be doing his show live. I will be there hanging out as well in the Swamp Rabbits jersey. So come find me. It's got my name on the back. You can't miss me. I'm very loud.
Humble brag.
Correct. But it's cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had my name on the back of a jersey before.
I got 3. I'm doing all right with my life.
Look at you.
You know? Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk World Cup soccer for just a moment, shall we? By the way, 49th minute is starting right now in Group F of the FIFA World Cup.
Hey,
Canada
scored another goal.
Morocco scored another goal.
No. I mean, I saw the other day that Canada had scored their first goal.
Yeah.
And so now they've scored another one.
Yeah, they got one back today. They gave up a really dumb one to Morocco earlier. The goalkeeper came out, tried to play one forward, had a bad touch, sent it right to the Moroccan front liner, and he just chipped it up over his head like a pitching wedge into the back of the net. So that is why Morocco currently up on top of America's hat, 2-1, as we are just getting the second half underway. Speaking of the second half, Greg, may I have a moment of your time? I know, Greg, listen, I'm sure Greg's probably not streaming the show in Qatar right now because it's like early in the morning there. But just in case, Greg, may I have a moment of your time? Einstein's definition of insanity, which was not something he ever said, by the way. It's just kind of something that's evolved into a colloquialism. But Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Rob Brown's definition of insanity is doing things that you know for a fact don't work when you know that they won't work, and then getting lucky and getting by with them. Okay? What do I mean by that? 3 games in a row at this World Cup. For whatever reason, the Americans have decided, as the second half begins to close, that we are all of a sudden a team that wants to just park the bus and play defense, right? Just get a foot on the ball, send it deep, and kill off 45 seconds at a time. We play soccer in the second half of the World Cup like a hockey team on the penalty kill, right? If you watch enough hockey, you know what I'm talking about. Team skating 5-on-4. If you get the puck down a man, more often than not, the result ultimately is that you just knock the puck way down there, and you hope that your best and fastest skaters can speed down to the other end and create something. Worst case scenario, you killed off 15 to 20 seconds of their power play while they got to skate down there, get the puck, regroup, reset their scoring offense, their power play offense, get it back into the zone, yada, yada, yada. The problem is, that works when you got to kill off 2 minutes. Greg, we got to kill off 25 minutes. Why is it, Greg, why is it that you can watch your team dominate possession of the soccer match for 70 minutes? Even if you're not scoring, dominate possession of the soccer match for 70 minutes. And then think that for some weird, inexplicable reason, that the last 25 minutes of the game, we need to pull back, play a 5-back defense, park the bus, and pray. In the first half of that match against Iran on Tuesday, the Americans were dominating possession, owning possession. The Iranians could do nothing to get the ball off of us. And while it only resulted in 1 goal, unfortunately for the Americans, that 1 goal proved to be enough as Captain America Christian Pulisic sacrificed potential future children in order to score a World Cup goal. Did you see that? Did you see that goal? It was gnarly. Christian went in for a header, was able to get it past Iran's goalkeeper, but since he was running full speed ahead into the goal, he tumbled into the Iranian goalkeeper, and as the goalkeeper is going to the ground, cleat up, spikes out, tapped Christian right in the little Christian.
All right,
it
so
looked like it sucked.
So I'm not that guy. When I hear about an injury, it immediately goes to look at it, and if I were, that's not one I want to see.
I thought he lost a groin.
Yeah, because that could happen.
I thought we lost America's groin. Okay. It was not a great look. Not a great look. Anywho.
And he's going to play Saturday.
That's what he said.
Would you play Saturday after that?
In the World Cup?
Yeah, but you just
I would be wearing a World Cup, but I would play.
Yeah, well, there you go. He probably should have done that already.
So, Pulisic scores the goal. The Americans go up 1-0. Have to win. A draw, you're back on a plane headed back to the States. Have to win. Now, you might go, Rob, wait a minute. We were up 1. You need the win. You have the advantage on the scoreline. Why would you not do everything to keep them from scoring? Here's the thing. What you were doing was proving that the best defense is a good offense, right? The best defense is a good offense. Look at the NBA. Your defense can suck if you average 140 a night, right? You're going to win more games than you don't. You might give up $130 a night, but if you're scoring $40 a night, you're going to win more than you lose. The Americans dominated possession for 70 minutes of that game. And then, for whatever reason, Greg decided that he wanted to throw a 5-back defense to put 5 guys across the back line to walk our advancing strikers back into a more holding midfield position unless they just got a clear run at the goal. And even when we did, he had them pulling off shots, right? Like, we'd rather maintain possession than hit speculative shots from the edge of the box. Don't shoot until you see the whites of the back of the net. And I hated it. I hated it. With every fiber of my being, I did not understand it. For 70 minutes, when you were playing possession-oriented football, the Americans owned possession. The Iranians could rarely get a counterattack going, and when they did, the back line as initially constructed, and by the way, good on Curtis Vicker. He was phenomenal. The back line held and held and held and held again. And while you can certainly argue that with one mistake, Iran draws level and we got an entirely different game, which is true, they had come nowhere close. And on top of that, they had so few opportunities to create an American mistake that the back line could be trusted in that spot. So if you were running a setup, that's got you possession for 70+% of the ball game, and when they're in possession, they're unable to cross into the attacking third, why would you stop doing that? We had a 1-0 lead on Wales. What did we do? We did exactly that. We sent everybody back. We parked the bus. What happened? Walker Zimmerman fouls Gareth Bale, puts in the PK. It's 1-1. Now, all of a sudden, the game against Iran is must win. Had we defeated Wales, we're fine. There's no pressure on Tuesday, right? There's no pressure. We're fine. We're fine. But because we moved to a defensive formation, we panicked at the end, as we are wont to do. It's a young team, third youngest team at the World Cup, and only by a handful of days. We panicked in possession late. We gave one of the most clutch soccer players in history the opportunity to put us away, and he did. 1-1 draw. We had to play for our lives on Tuesday instead of just being able to go out there, play our game, relax, no pressure, as long as you draw, you're in. Instead, we're panicking. We're playing for our lives, which is a massive bummer. I do not understand why the hell we had to change that. Why the hell something worked for 70 out of 70 minutes, and then last minute they're like, yeah, let's not do that anymore. It worked for 70 out of 70 minutes. And then you just decide to change the tactic? Why? Against Iran, it worked out. Gut-wrenching. They had a couple of chances late, and we were able to turn them away. Gut-wrenching. But we pulled it out. That was against an Iranian team that was nowhere near as disciplined as the Dutch. That was against an Iranian team that, while a little extra adrenaline likely came from what they had going on, while a little extra adrenaline likely was pumping based on what's happening in Iran right now, a team that was also incredibly, and you could see that on their faces, right? That was a spot that if we are playing the Netherlands or France or Spain or Portugal or Germany, that's a spot that we give up the game, right? That's a spot where a 1-0 American lead suddenly gets knocked back to a 1-1 even scoreline. And while I trust the boys, I do not want to take a team that is very clearly a bundle of nerves into a shootout in a knockout game when there's no need to. It worked for 70 minutes. It bought you a 1-1 match. Why would you stop doing it? And before you go, well, Rob, keep them out. We played a 5-back and still almost conceded a goal a couple of times. If Matty the Burner Turner wasn't having such a stellar World Cup, we'd have been in trouble. Matt Turner has conceded 1 goal in these playoffs so far, and it was the PK to Gareth Bale. Conceded nothing against Wales outside of the PK, conceded nothing against England, a World Cup favorite, and conceded nothing against Iran. It's a stellar first 3, but at some point, Matty the Burner's going to need some goal support. He's going to need something on the other end because he's going to have one slip by. The best goalkeepers in the world are going to have one slip by. If we go up against the Dutch and we play 70 minutes, and let's say just for the sake of discussion, grab that 1-0 scoreline we're looking for. Set ourselves up on a 1-0 scoreline. And then decide to do what we did against Iran, they will score and they will beat us. I do not understand it. Greg Berhalter did not show that his tactics won. He showed that his tactics will work against an emotional, undisciplined football team like Iran. That will get us beat by the Dutch on Saturday. It'll get us beat by the French. It'll get us beat by the Spanish. It'll get us beat by the Germans. It'll get us beat by the English if we were to see them again. I am absolutely convinced that the Americans have enough quality. If they can find somebody to finish goals, if we can find somebody to finish and put the ball in the back of the net beside Christian Pulisic, we absolutely have the quality to be a quarterfinal team, maybe a semifinal team. We absolutely have the quality. But if we do what we did against Iran, if we do what we did against the Welsh, we're in trouble. It's really that simple to me. Really that simple. All right. Soccer fans, where you at? World Cup fans, where you at? 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Texter says, hashtag pelvic injury. Yeah, it was. Thought he lost the groin. Texter says, Rob, I can't stand that they play so defensive. Like Herm Edwards said, you play to win the game. Yes. Please, Gregiga. I'm begging you. Play to win on Saturday. Don't play not to lose. Play to win. That being said, the boys in the jerseys, somebody's got to finish one for us. Somebody's got to bury one early and give us some momentum. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, I want to see if this works. Look at our look at the new show intro. Tell me what you think. And then, bang, there's us.
The end part I thought was a little long.
It was. I need to shorten it back up.
Yeah.
My thought is when we hit go live on the stream, we hit that at the same time. And that's our intro card. Just a thought. Creative juices are flowing.
Who cares? Okay, whatever, dude.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, I've been around the real estate game for many years. My dad was a real estate agent when I was growing up, and he taught me a lot of rules of real estate. One of them that I have seen broken because
sometimes people just do not have the best information available is when you're going to sell your home, you want to sell it for the most money possible, obviously. And in order to accomplish that, you need the expertise of an Allen Tate realtor in your corner. In today's low inventory market, homes in good condition attract multiple buyers. And with multiple buyers comes multiple offers, sometimes within days of listing. And when buyers compete, you sell your home for more money. So when you are ready to sell, do not settle for one offer when you can choose your best offer. Choose the Carolinas' #1 real estate company, Allen Tate. Reach out to them now. You can find them online at allentate.com. allentate.com. It's our friends at Allen Tate Realtors.
It's been years in the making.
Sorry, I'm not talking, but my weave is coming loose. Don't you hate when that happens? Oh, forgot to do that. I think Rob got lost. I do that off camera, Trey.
Alonzo, it's Thursday.
Yeah, I know. I was adjusting my weave during the break, so if you're wondering why there's boom.
Children need your help for Christmas. This is Greenville Police Chief Howie Thompson. Please join Odyssey and help make Christmas great for kids by donating a new toy at the
That's not surprising, James.
To help bring a new toy to the Bon Secours Wellness Arena all day today through 10 a.m. tomorrow. Greenville Police and Sheriff's Office members will accept your donations. See law enforcement tactical teams and K9 patrol units demonstrations. More info at leosanta.com.
Presented by Rob Inerio Law. Call Rob.com with special thanks to Long Heating and Air and Michael's Flooring.
I'm a bad man.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where it's been several weeks since we've done this because, well, one of us has not been here. So, I mean, that would be me. I was not here. So, so it's on me. But in honor of me returning, you get a super kick. You get a super kick. You get a super kick. You get a super kick.
Would you say it's a super
You
kick
get a
party?
super kick. You get. I'm just recapping the trios match last night on AEW. You get a super kick. You get a super. All right, so I'm gonna do the old man thing. You know, back in my day, a super kick meant something. You tune up the band, and they were out afterwards. What happened, Rob? I gotta ask this. What happened to the super kick? It is so overused now that I don't know about you. I've never been kicked in the face, but if I were, I think I would at least make it look like it hurt to the degree where it might take me a little bit to recover, not immediately jump back up and kick someone else in the face. I think the super kick, I think you got to back off the super kick.
It, there's a couple of moves that I think have gotten so overused that they've kind of lost a little, like the suicide dive through the ropes, right? It's kind of lost a little bit of impact because everybody, like even the big guys do it now, right? It's kind of lost its impact.
Yeah, the only one who does that well is Rey Mysterio, because he does that bounce off the bottom, off the mat itself and through the bottom rope, and no one else.
Kind of sick.
Yeah, no one else does that. But yeah, I mean, you're supposed to give off. At least I think you're supposed to give off the air of reality to a degree. But if everyone, there were 25,000 super kicks in the main event last night on AEW.
25.
Yeah. I was almost late this morning coming to work because I was counting them meticulously, just sitting there and hitting pause and hitting play.
25,000,
which is hard, because when you hit play, it's going to try to jump through a little bit, and if there's so many super kicks in there, you got to stop and go back and make sure that you didn't miss any. There were 25,000.
Fair enough. I'm just glad somebody was doing the math.
And I might have missed one. James says back in my day, the DDT meant something. Also, yes, someone just like a pile driver. There was a time when you got pile drove.
I like pile drove. That's great.
When you got pile drove, you didn't get up. Because someone is jamming your entire body weight on top of your head and buckling your neck. You should not get up from that, at least not for a while. Just should be some recovery time. So, and yes, that other show that comes on later, we know it's not real. We know that it's scripted, but you guys couldn't do it. But you lose some reality.
I had somebody drop that line on me literally this weekend, right? I was talking on.
Did you bless their heart?
No, I should have. I was talking at Thanksgiving with one of my younger cousins about War Games Survivor Series on Saturday. How excited I was because I genuinely was kind of invested in it, and we got to talking about wrestling. And I had one of the older uncles hit me with, it's fake, right? And I'm like, dude, like how pretentious do you have to be to say that, right? Like if somebody has made it to my age and haven't realized that it's fake, like let them live that illusion. And 98% of us, yes, we know it's fake. So's everything on television. Like if you watch anything, I hit him with, because he's a fan of what's the Tom Selleck show?
Blue Bloods.
Yes.
Blue Bloods.
Big fan of Blue Bloods. And I'm like, it's fake, right? Tom Selleck's not really an ex-cop, right? And he's like, yeah, I know. It's fake. It's TV. That's what we watch for. Just relax. Listen, if I never hear that sentence again, yes, I know it's fake. And I got news. Still going to watch it.
Yeah, but it's also followed with an arrogance. It's fake, right?
It's so
there's a tone.
pretentious to
It's
ask
like,
that question.
okay, why did you take pleasure in saying that? How did you build yourself up to a degree by thinking you're belittling me by telling me something that I'm watching on TV isn't real? What does that say about you and your self-esteem that you need to do such a thing to somebody else to make yourself feel or look bigger? I mean, I look at the psychology of it. I don't get it. And really what it comes down to, wrestling is psychology. That's the cool part about it. There's a lot of psychology that goes into it. There are amazing athletes, but one thing there is for sure, there are way too many stinking super kicks.
Like Lon's just like, let me defend wrestling. Okay, now let me attack wrestling.
Well, and then I tied it back in because professional.
No, yeah, because you're a professional.
Yeah, that's what I do.
For the record, I actually agree with that. I think there's overuse of the super kick, but in fairness, it's one of those things that like it looks devastating. It should be taught to look devastating, but it's also really easy to do and to look good, right? Both to take and give. So it kind of makes sense. But
hey, the bro click, bro kick.
Yeah.
Do you get up from that right away? No. Because that's a double kick. I mean, there are some things that I need. I wish that they would dial back a little bit because you've taken away from the significance. Someone like Shawn Michaels has to look at it and go, "Come on, guys."
You think he ever does? He ever thinks in the back and he's like,
because if you go back in the library, going, "Wow, that guy didn't get up after he got kicked once. He must be pretty weak." Anyway,
I don't disagree.
Anyway,
and yes, by the way, as a big Jake the Snake guy, give me back my DDT. Make DDTs great again. There's my next T-shirt idea.
Agreed. When you get hit by a stunner, at least now the stunner still you're down a little bit, and not too many people do that. All right, as you mentioned, War Games Saturday night was Usyk. It was absolutely Usyk, and
I felt Usyk.
You got to see that emotional hug at the end after Jay and Sammy buried the hatchet and buried KO. And overall, the pay-per-view was okay, but that match was supposed to be the big deal. That match and the triple threat for the U.S. Championship, I thought that was a unique way to put it on Theory.
I liked it. I honestly, I thought the card was good. I thought the show was good. I was sports entertained thoroughly. I thought that I thought putting the strap on Austin Theory after getting rid of his selfie character was the right decision. And I think Austin Theory v. Seth Rollins has the opportunity to be amazing. And I thought both War Games matches were pretty solid. I thought that the way that they are telling the Bloodline story,
the
fantastic.
women's match wasn't really interested.
I thought it was good. I liked it.
I mean, I mean, you have to let that person be the one to win it all for you. Okay, whatever.
Lonzo really hates Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I don't like Becky Lynch. I mean, I don't like her character. I'm sure she's probably a pretty good person.
Which is by the way hilarious to me, because the lady friend is not like a huge wrestling fan. She's more like she'll watch it when I'm watching it and it's on kind of thing. There are 3 reasons that she will watch wrestling with me. One is Becky Lynch, and 2 are Drew McIntyre's left thigh and Drew McIntyre's right thigh. Those are the 3 reasons that she watches wrestling with me, which is totally fine by me. I don't care. Oh, and Finn Balor's abs. So 4 reasons.
By the way, I'm not against women's wrestling. I love women's wrestling, and I just think there are much better. I'd rather see Charlotte any day.
No, not a chance. And I don't dislike Charlotte Flair, but Becky Lynch is infinitely more interesting. You are just upset that she calls herself the man. That's it. If she never come up with that nickname, you would love Becky Lynch.
I did like her when she first came out, but she had longer hair then too. So I just thought it was cool. The red hair flying, and it's just I
got nothing for that. I love the man. I love the nickname. I love the concept. I think she's spectacular.
Yeah. When you got to steal from somebody else. There's only one man ever in wrestling. The man has always been Ric Flair, always will be. And you had to take that. I mean, come up with something original. I think the lack of originality bothers me a great deal.
I think a woman referring herself to herself as the man is pretty damn original.
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. You had to take it from somebody else. Come up with something a little more original.
Just a hater.
I think I'd rather see Bailey too. At least she reinvents herself in an interesting way.
I like Bailey, but
no. Yeah. All right. MJF wins the belt. So we haven't been together in a couple weeks. So I want to point out that I predicted exactly what would happen, that William Regal would turn on the Blackpool Combat Club and help MJF win, and he did. I get one right every once in a while. And then last night, MJF turned on William Regal and hit him in the back of the head with the knuckles and put him in the hospital. So now the rumor is that Regal is going back to WWE. Are you buying that?
No. Not at all. I mean, I'm not going to say not at all, because obviously there is a solid chance that happens. But just like, I don't know, man. Like, I think you have just set Steven Regal up. I mean, William Regal. I mean, whatever, Tony Schiavone. You have just set him up as the crux of like 4 different stories, right? Like, and all of them are my interest in. MJF v. Regal, Mox v. Regal, Daniel Bryan Danielson versus MJF, and DB versus Mox in what might not be a wrestling feud but might turn into one. I don't know, man. I mean, you just set him up as the crux of 4 different stories, all of which I'm very interested in, and Regal gets to just be Regal. I can't see why I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I can't say why you
So
would.
which is an uglier belt, the Burberry belt or Daniel Bryan's weed belt?
The weed belt was hilarious because it worked so well in character, man. It just worked. I love I love MJ. I am not against wrestlers like creating their own custom belt just for the lulz. I thought it's great.
You know, there's not going to be an outcry like the spinning belt from John Cena.
I was going to say the only one I didn't like was the spinner belt. I think that was a little over the top, but also again, at the time it made sense.
All right. So I figured something out
I
last
remember when dudes were rolling around with spinners on their Honda Civics, you know?
I was close. I kind of wanted it just like the neon underneath. I kind of want it.
I know everybody did. You could go to Wally World and pick up the bolt-on spinners for your Honda Civic, and it worked.
I got the LEDs for Christmas to go inside the car, but you have to
Have you strapped them on yet?
No, because you kind of gotta glue them on, and I can't make myself do it. They've been sitting in my car for like 2 years. Please don't break in and steal them. Last thing, I figured something out. You know the companies that make ugly sweaters, they got to have something to do in the off season.
Belts.
No, they make all of Hangman Adam Page's clothes. That's I figured that out last night. That's where his clothes come from the people who make ugly sweaters. Because I don't know why he has showed his face back in wrestling, because someone stole his move. His name is Logan Paul, and he's never going to be able to do it as good as Logan Paul did. So he just needs to go away and take his clothes with him.
Hater. You just hate the millennial cowboy too.
It's annoying.
You hate all the young people.
You
hate the youth.
It's not about that. No.
Tucker said wrestling is just like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. When you're a child, it's cool because you don't know it's fake. But when you're an adult, well, ... All right, man. I mean, cool. I'm not.
Yes.
Listen,
Millions of fans all over the world, not just kids.
Listen,
they're all just losers. We're all just losers. And you, sir or madam, are a winner. Thank you for listening to this program.
I don't feel the need to fight back. Like, all right, cool. You don't, that's fine. Like, okay.
You know, I feel the need to point out that South Carolina beat Clemson last Saturday. I don't know why that texter makes me think that I need to say that.
Texter says, I've been married for 31 years. I know what faking is. Back after this. No Twitter trending topics, because when we come back, we actually have breaking news that I want to clear up on the way out the door on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Forgot to mention that Stephen Thompson is fighting this weekend.
Wonder Boy. We can talk about that tomorrow. What platform do you use to stream? We're on StreamYard, Mike. We've been using StreamYard for a couple of years now.
Yeah, before that, we're using OBS.
Yeah,
and
we
then,
used OBS for a
then
while.
the company bought a subscription, I guess it is, to StreamYard. And then they upped the subscription, which allowed us to
do this
to even more platforms, or whatever you want to call it. Venues, streaming thingies, which I believe is a technical term.
Correct. It totally is.
I'm going to do it anyway. Let's turn the air on.
It'll be cold right in time to leave the studio.
Awesome. It'll be cold for the next people, though. They'll turn the heat on.
Probably.
I understand that, but it does get a little warm in here. The windows and, the sun and. It's all gossip. Let's ride.
Let's ride. My favorite part is that in part of his defense, Russell Wilson said that over half the roster came to his birthday party, which is an amazing defense. I have more friends. No, more people came to my birthday party. Just an absolutely incredible take from Russell. There it is. There's the McCaffrey injury.
Stop it.
Hey, it worked out well.
How's it worked out well?
For Carolina, they got a good set of picks before he got hurt.
Okay. I guess. Well.
I'm saying for Carolina, it worked out well.
In theory, it may have worked out well.
Right.
because we don't know, since it's such a gamble for the NFL draft. I think 2400 Sports should send us to the draft.
Let's ask.
I think we should suggest that all of us podcasters, every one of us, be sent to the draft.
I'm not above asking.
I got ideas sometimes, and you never know if we're still functioning as a unit. All 30 something of us, or I guess it'd be more than that. Some people have like 3 hosts. I'd have to drive there, so I just have to meet you there. But I'd go.
You would have to meet me there because I am not driving that far.
Because if I get on the plane, we're going to die. So, and I wouldn't want to put that on you, or me for that matter,
No.
or anybody else on that plane.
I mean, I've been on a lot of planes and I have not died yet.
Yeah, but if I get on one, we're going to die because where I am at least.
Alonso's going to final destination me.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so we're not doing that. Let's see if corporate cancels this again because I put my name in it. It's part of the title of the segment. I can't help it. I didn't do it. Rob did. Yeah, I should take that out of there. Well, no, I didn't have it in there in the first place. So as if I knew.
What does my retirement look like?
What's retirement?
It doesn't.
I want to be that old man trying to push the button. Hold on. Don't go to break yet. All right, my hand's in position. Do it.
No, we'll have AI by then, buddy. You just tell it what you want it to do, and it'll take care.
Ooh, I could like blink my eyelids.
Yeah,
We'll go to break.
Exactly. They'll just be a wire that connects directly to your brain. Breaking news from our friends at BetQL. Be a better better, be a smarter better, be smarter, and beat the books, ladies and gentlemen, by going to betql.com and make sure you listen to their incredible line of podcasts, which I've been told perhaps Bet for the Cycle could return next baseball season.
By the way, I sent you a video of your former co-host drinking something out of a shoe. I thought you would appreciate that.
Cody loves making bets. He loves making bets. All right. College football playoff, ladies and gentlemen, according to this article in my hands from Odyssey and CBS Sports, the college football playoff will officially move to a 12-team format in the 2024-2025 season. The CFP board announced earlier today that the association's board of managers has formally approved a 12-team field that will increase access to the playoff along with revenue for the CFP and its associated parties. Bill Hancock, CFP executive director, said, quote, "We're delighted to be moving forward. When the board expanded the playoff beginning in 2026 and asked the CFP management committee to examine the feasibility of starting the new format earlier, the management committee went right to work. More teams and more access means more excitement for fans, alumni, students, and student athletes. We appreciate the leaders of the 6 bowl games and the 2 future national championship game host cities for their cooperation. Everyone realized that the change is in the best interest of college football and pulled together to make it happen. The first round The 24-25 playoffs will take place throughout the week ending Saturday, December 21st. The CFP will attempt to schedule those first-round games later in that week. Games will be hosted at either home stadiums of the highest-seeded teams in those games or other sites chosen by that program for logistical purposes. The expanded 12-team playoff bracket will feature the 6 highest-ranked conference champions as automatic qualifiers, along with the next 6 highest-ranked teams. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4 with first-round byes. The next 4 highest-ranked teams, number 5, 6, 7, and 8, will host the first-round matchups. The selection committee will continue to determine weekly ratings with criteria to be reevaluated in the future. End quote.
You know what? If this would have happened this year, despite losing to South Carolina, Clemson would be in, but they're not, and they lost
Assuming
to.
they beat UNC in the ACC title game.
Well, they could still be ranked though.
They could, although I
But that would
I
be
think a loss to Carolina,
yeah.
especially after Carolina
Okay.
dropped 3 of the last 5, would be a pretty big detriment.
That's it's pretty cool that they went ahead and expanded it. So now we don't have to worry about it. We know when it's coming. We got one more year of the way it is now, and then it's time, right?
You know, it's funny. I was hearkening back while I was reading that during the break. I was hearkening
He
back.
was hearkening back.
I was hearkening back to a conversation that I had on my old station down in Destin many, many moons ago, right? We were having the conversation many moons ago regarding the potential for playoff expansion, right? And I remember using a metaphor, an analogy, whatever you want to call it, that I used many, many times in the past, which is we don't need to spend a bunch of time discussing the future of playoff expansion. It's the same as me talking about what color I would paint my Lamborghini. Like, it's an interesting hypothetical, but at the end of the day, it's kind of irrelevant because it's never going to happen. Well, vroom, baby. The playoffs got a Lambo.
What color is it?
Black.
I would have thought it'd be gold.
Nah, black. Black, gold pinstripes down the side, black leather interior. That's the way. It's all black. You got to go Batmobile, man. It's the best look. Anyway, the college football playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, have officially expanded. Starting in 2024, we will move to a 12-team format. 12-team format features the 6th highest-ranked conference champions. So you're going to have your likely Power 5 plus your independent, if there's an independent, and then the next 6 highest ranked teams after that. The 4 highest ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4 with first round byes. The next 4 highest ranked teams, 5, 6, 7, and 8, will host the first rounds against 9, 10, 11, and 12. And those games will likely be on Campi around the country.
Campi.
Texas said the CFP expansion is good. It means no more group of 5 whining. They should get in now. Yeah, that's part of what it does. I mean, you still need to be a conference champ and be highly ranked if you're going to get in, but it does get you in the dance, which at this point is pretty much what you're looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. I'm glad to be back. I hope you all had a spectacular Thanksgiving weekend. We are back tomorrow to do it all again and better. Come see us at the Leo Santatoy Drive at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Mark Ryan broadcasting live from 3 to 7. I'll be there as well. We'd love to see you come hang out, and we will see you all back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Stream, you guys are amazing. We love you very much, and we will see you all back here tomorrow. Have a great